Hey everybody, I am going to give some people a little bit of time to come in here. Just a quick message. I'm not going to be too long. Welcome everybody to Ms. Royal, the Divine Oracle. I just wanted to come on here and do a quick live. I'm going to wait for some people to come in. Quick little message. How's everybody doing in this season? Take this down. It's kind of tight. How is everybody doing? Give a little bit of people a little bit of time. I'm not going to be too long on here. Just want to take this down some people jump on and they just like the like. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me take this down real quick. So everybody that knows me from any of the other social media platforms, they know that I always talk about my crows. They'd be my messengers. And so I didn't see a murder of crows, but I did see about 4 on yesterday. And the message I got was a lot of people are confused about what's going on in this season right now, not knowing which way to turn. Some things are being done or exposed in this season, and a lot of people are pretty much a little confused. Um, if you're in, hey Queen, how you doing? Miss Karen, how you doing? Forgive me for a minute. I wanted to take that thing down on my hair because it was kind of tight. So I'm just kind of massaging my scalp a little bit. Locks are growing very fast. Anyway, so the reason why people are a little bit confused is because systems are changing. And I don't want to be on here too long, but every time I see crows, there's always a message. And it's very it's particular. It's a particular situation that's taking place in the world system at this time. A lot of things are being dismantled, thank goddess. And I was kind of communing with my ancestors, and they keep reminding me that they got me. Source got me. And a lot of you been getting messages, but you're still worried. And the thing about it is, worrying is that word sin that people used to always talk about in the Bible times. And, but all it means is error. And a lot of us as a people are being very worried right now, being concerned. A lot of things you don't understand on what's going on. A lot of things you don't understand. If you're coming in, just type your name in the chat. Let me give you a little shout out. And that is to be understood. If you don't know what's going on, and it's a lot of confusion going on. So let me help you guys with that. When you're hearing ancestors, spirit guides, whatever, telling you they got you, don't second guess that. That means they got you. The problem with us is when we hear these messages coming through from, rather it be source, spirit guides, our ancestors, we get confused. And we don't know if it's just our own thinking. But I can guarantee you, because they were dealing with me about it myself, about receiving what messages are coming through and being able to know us. You see, Because when you look at the Bible and it says, oh, well, my people know my voice, and a stranger they will not follow. Well, listen, you know, if you hear spirits say, well, jump off of this bridge, you know that is not source. So why would you do it? You see what I'm saying? So we are being confused at the wrong time. Right now, our spirit guides, our ancestors, they're telling us to trust. They got us. They got us. If you're coming in, let me know you're coming in. And when I saw the crows on yesterday, like I told you, everybody knows. See, I don't look at what symbols are as evil. First of all, when you hear about people talking about crows these days and times, they're talking about, oh, that's evil. That's a bad omen. No, no, no. See, the natives knew. Hey, Vita, how are you? See, the natives knew that birds were messengers. They were very powerful. An owl is considered to be a protector and very wise. They even have a potato chip that got wise on it, and it's a dang on owl. So a crow, and listen, when you see a murder of them, that means the message is urgent. And therefore, when you have an urgent message coming through, it's not something that you need to wait on to get confirmation. It means you need to move, and you need to move quickly. I am so glad that y'all are here. Love you guys. Namaste. And so when I see crows, and see, I've been dealing with them since the early 2000s. I would see crows in different times, and let me tell you, they would save my life. And let me tell you why. Because when I would see one or two of them, I knew it was a little message. You know, two represents attempted murder. A murder of crows is when you see a large number of crows. So the message that was coming through is, don't take everything and think that is evil or put an evil connotation on it. And that's what they have done to simple things, even as like birds. But they are messengers. They come to give us a message. So the message is to pay attention to what's going on in the world system of education, the world system in the banking systems, the world system, even with NASA, the different things going on in space. Pay attention. A lot of things they're not going to be telling us. There are a lot of things they are not going to reveal. You know why? Because once it's revealed, it's almost like if you speak a word, once it leaves your mouth, it's in the atmosphere. And so things begin to shift. That's why they will not tell us everything that's going on up there. They don't want to, first of all, they don't want to admit that a lot of things are coming into fruition because they've been tampering with a lot of stuff. Our ancestors, our spirit guides, the reason why they say they got us is because people are forming hedges of protection around their family. See, as long as you go against the grain with your belief, people want to put you inside of a box. And there's people in this day's time, they are not like everybody else. You will not be ever like anybody else. You are unique. You are significant. And a lot of us have been prepped. And what I mean by prepped is when you are a young child and you are a seer, or you see visions, or you dream dreams, or you are it's just, you're different. People don't want to mess with you. You know why? Because you see them for who they are. And a lot of times they can tell that. Spirit is saying to tell a lot of you to accept yourself for who you are, Embrace yourself and push past anything anybody has to say. The first rule in spirituality is graduating from what people think about you. You will never be like everybody else. You will always be different. And the thing about it is, a lot of people want to be like everybody else. Beyonce got a lot of money, but I ain't trying to be her. There's a lot of spiritualists on YouTube. A lot of them I follow. A lot of them I like. A lot of my friends. But they are unique for their own purpose. And when they are unique and we are supposed to be one of the same, we come together to forge something powerful. But it cannot happen if everybody is trying to be the same. If you are trying to be like Tina down the street, then how are you unique? You are different for a reason. And the reason Spirit has been giving me this message is because I see a lot of people, even on IG, on Instagram, doing the same doggone thing, trying to get, and they get a lot of followers, but it's the same thing. My inbox is packed with people telling me, "Oh, I can help you break a love spell. I can help you do this. I can help you do this. I can help you do." What? I do the same thing. Why would I call on you for that? I don't need that. I don't need that. But we have to remember that we are all different for a particular reason. That's why it's so important to embrace yourself, because tomorrow may not be promised. And you do not want it to catch you with work undone. We are supposed to be shifting as this world is shifting. But a lot of people are stuck in the matrix, and they are stuck trying to be in the same old, taking the same pattern, the old pattern. It wasn't working then, and it's not going to work now. And the reason why is because we are shifting on a different frequency. So your dreams are going to be more vivid. Your sight is going to be different. But let's get down to this. A lot of us got to change how we eat. Our eating habits must change. Your pineal gland, a lot of people are third eyes blocked. You know why? Because you're eating poison. We must change and shift how we are eating. Listen, Conjure Queen was just talking about how they want to pretty much block some things that they know is out in the atmosphere. So they want to shift things. And they're doing it through the food, guys. They're putting it in foods. If they want to try to extinct a people or sterilize a people, the first thing to do is get them through the food. You know why? Because you got to eat. So they're poisoning meats. I was just telling one of my clients today that when I used to eat meat, and we used to buy chicken, and we used to go to a store called IGA, and I would clean the chicken because you take the fat off and all the stuff. They would have these little tiny, small, little plastic stuff in the butt of the chicken, and that's where they used to inject them. And they used to leave them in there, plain sight, telling you that they're poisoning the foods. Why is this important? It's important because in order for us to see what we need to see, we must cleanse ourselves. And so in order for you to do that, you must change how you eat. You can't, listen, taking a bunch of vitamins is okay, because vitamins are good. We need that. But if you're still eating the same junk, then you are still blocking your chakras. Meat, y'all, in the USA, they do not love on their animals before they slaughter them. They mangle these animals. They cut them. They get a kick out of it. Some of them get a hard on for killing animals. Okay? The 42 laws of Ma'at, we ain't supposed to even harm them. I was telling my client, back in the Bible times, they were talking about how they weren't satisfied with the manna that source was giving to them. And they wanted more. They wanted meat. And when they went to eat the meat, it's in the Bible, read it. They went to eat the meat, it rotted their mouths because they were not satisfied with what Spirit, God, source was giving them. They weren't satisfied with that. They wanted more and more and more. And that's just like us today. We want more. We want more and more and more. But what are you giving away to receive more? You see? And so the thing is, we got to shift how we are eating these foods. People are dying. People are getting sick. And they say, oh, well, that's diabetes. Well, look what we're eating. Oh, they mistreat meat there too? Yes, that's what it was, Kalisha. Listen, those are the things that they inject the meat with to make them bigger, faster. It's poison. I've literally seen 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds with boobs, with breasts, big old gigantic butts, and they're 3 and 4 years old. That is telling you right there. That is not hereditary because the mama got a big butt. Yes, that can happen. But 3 and 4 year olds with breasts? No, that's hormonal. And it's because of what we are eating, what we are giving. Listen, more than ever, we got to up our water intake. Our bodies are calling for more water. And you must not drink that tap water. Get spring water unless you have a filter to filter out the food. To filter out the water. But we must drink more and more and more water. Liquid chlorophyll, activated charcoal, spirulina, a lot of stuff we have to, and then we have to cleanse at least once or twice a week. You must cleanse your body out. Juices, plant-based diets. I'm a pescatarian. I still eat fish, but I couldn't even eat crabs and shrimp and stuff no more. My body began to give a bad allergic reaction to either the iodine or just the shellfish in general. I can't eat it no more. So, and then I had to stop and think about it. Okay, well, those are bottom feeders. Oh, okay, so source is telling me I got to shift now. I can't even eat that no more. I have an aunt that was highly allergic to shellfish. She had to wear a bracelet. What she did was she was like, well, I'm just not going to eat no seafood at all. I can't give it up yet. But, I don't mind giving up the crabs and the shrimp because if it's going to make my tongue this big, like what happened to me, I don't mind giving it up, even though I love it. However, it is time for us to shift what we are putting in our system. And you know what the thing about it is, guys, because I've seen it for myself. There are a handful of people that will do it. The other half, well, I'm eating meat this long. I'm eating this long. I'm eating that this long. So if I'm going to die, I'm just going to die. So that's what happens to them. They die from the inside out, naturally and spiritually, because they would not even elevate themselves to think on a different level. There is a reason that they are giving us certain things and they're putting it in certain neighborhoods and certain, you know why? Because they're targeting they're targeting low income places. Even the nice grocery stores sometimes are putting it in there because they're getting hip to people coming out of their neighborhoods and going into the richy places and getting food because they've already seen that we know about this poison now, you see? However, pay attention. Pay attention. They're the most popular areas. They're having the most babies. So they're trying to get them through the food. Well, if we can't stop them from having these babies, if we can't sterilize them, we'll just kill them. And we'll find a way to do it. Even when you go to the doctor, how many regular doctors, not holistic ones, but how many regular doctors tell you to take liquid chlorophyll or spirulina or all of the stuff to cleanse out your body, and tell you, how many doctors tell you to stop eating meat? None. Because as long as you can stay sick, you coming into their office. And as long as you're coming into their offices, then they're able to make money off of you. They don't care about you getting better. They want you to stay sick, because the more sugar you eat and you don't control it, the more metformin and all these different diabetic medications they can give you. Now, I've known 3 people who have been on diabetic medication and still have gotten limbs cut off, still have gotten blind. Where's the justice in that? They're not getting better. So you got all these class actions out here. Oh, give me a second, guys. I have been eating kosher and kali meats, but gave up beef totally. Beef is a big one to give up, because it takes, first of all, 72 hours to digest in your system. And if you're a big beef eater and you're eating it all the time, 9 times out of 10, you're taking 72 hours to digest the first portion. And then if you eat it the next day or the next day, then you got 3 and 4 and 5 days where this thing is just sitting inside of you. Yes, you can. You can make, when you start to shift and come away from certain things and try to eat differently, there's always ways for you to make certain things better. You can get black bean burger. You can make black bean burgers. You can do, it's different. But see, when we were younger, they weren't putting all these poisons in certain things. So there's a difference. Now they're trying to exterminate a people. So what they do is they're trying to put it through the food, because everybody got to eat. Everybody. Exactly. And there is a rise in laser cutting and childbirth. Yes, it is. Listen, one lady told me that and it was overseas somewhere, and she went to take she went to a hospital where there was a little girl there with a barcode in the leg. Now, see, this is the thing. We don't know what these things are going to do down the pipeline. And they just might take this video, but I'm telling y'all the truth right now. We don't know if these things, all you got to do is press a button. See, how do we know if we get a barcode, or if we get certain things, if we eat certain things, if we get certain shots? How do we know what is going to happen if they decide to sound the alarm for something? I have not seen or heard as much EMSs that I have heard since the last couple of months, ever, in South Carolina until now. We don't know. And you know what they're saying? 1 second. Yep, you can make it. You can do a lot with you can do a lot with the vegetables. I cut up, my son cut up some cabbage one day, and I did it just like regular cabbage with no meat, but I used a little bit of liquid smoke, and it was, I'll say it was gone the next day. So it was just gone. So it's ways that you can season your food using herbs, watching the salt. Y'all listen, and our people, watch the salt. Watch the salt. Because what's going on is the high blood pressure is rising in our people. diabetes rising in our people. One lady told me all her life she wasn't a diabetic. Went to the doctor the other day. She's a diabetic now. And they will put labels on you. You don't even have to be it. But if they want to put you on a certain type of medication, because this is how these people make their money. They're not going to tell you to do a full body cleanse for 3 weeks and cut out this and cut out that and start doing this and start doing that. No, no, no. They're not making no money like that. Oh, gosh, yes, it is. Chopped mushrooms, yes, it is. My son came up with a slider, and it was, did he use shiitake mushrooms? It might have been shiitake mushrooms. He used some mushrooms, and he used this, it was like a blend that had like onions and bell peppers and stuff like that in there. And he put the shiitake mushrooms in it. He used some kind of sauce, and he made sliders with it. It was awesome. Awesome. There's so many different ways you can learn to do things. I mean, you can take watch the starches that we are putting in our bodies too, because starch, if it's not a good starch, they turn right into sugar and they sit right in the belly area, especially us women. We got to watch all of this. And it's the reason, see, they don't tell you everything, but just pay attention to how things are shifting now, where there's a lot of people cutting out certain things that they used to eat and they can't eat no more. Remember, I told you guys on the last live to get that book and check out and make sure about your blood type. Definitely get that book by Dr. Diadamo, and it's called Eat Right for Your Blood Type. There's some things, yeah, you can do in moderation, but I'm telling you guys, once I shifted how I was eating certain things, my weight dropped. And I was trying to lose like my ab area for a long time, walking and doing all kind of stuff. But when I found out I was a B blood type and I was eating all the meats that I shouldn't, once I cut it out, it was like almost instant. A lot of pounds drop. Yes, I still walk and try to go to the gym. However, when I stopped eating certain things, my weight dropped. My ab area came down, because there's that muscle, like I told you guys, in the chicken called oxygenating lectin, what can cause strokes in B blood type people. And my mom had a stroke when I was a teenager, never thinking, okay, well, we just sitting here eating all of the stuff because we're accustomed to eat a certain way, you see, because of how we grew up. So the thing is, people don't want to change from how they grew up. Well, I did it all my life. Okay, but then you're still dying. We still out here dying. So when we going to change? See, it starts with this. You change this, you can change this. It starts with the mind. You got to know your blood type. You got to know it. See, there was, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I thought I was helping people and saving people. And I used to donate plasma to save lives because they were giving out money and blah, blah, blah. And so I got so accustomed to going, and I asked the lady one day, what, can you tell me my blood type? If you ask, they'll tell you. And so she gave it to me. And when I got the book, I began to read things. Now, let me tell you what the deal is. The more bigger you are, the more money they give you. The heavy you are, right? So I started eating the meat, and I shifted my eating habits. So when they go in and they check you, they noticed that a lot of levels had dropped. And then they were like, okay, well, what do you did different? And I said, well, I stopped eating this and I stopped eating that. And they was like, oh, okay. And they tested me again, and they were like, oh, your protein is good, because I found a different way to have my protein. I found a different way to keep all my levels up. But when you first start to stop eating meat and different things completely, everything drops. Your protein drops and everything. So you're with the levels. But once you find a way to, peanuts, eggs, whatever, and everything got back up. And then I said, Spirit was like, I don't want you to do that no more. We don't want you doing that no more. So I stopped doing it. Man, the phone calls, the texts I got, the emails I got, all kind of stuff. Because B is like a nomad, but O is the rarest. It's the oldest blood type. AB, they still have the the B component in the blood type, which is the nomads. And so basically, chicken is bad for us, for B blood type. Yes, the water is very important. Yes, I do the pink one, the pink Himalayan, and I use the white one. But in sea salt, but I do not do regular salt no more because y'all, the high blood pressure in our people, and they won't tell you that you have to do certain things to change that. You know why? Because again, it keeps them from getting that money, whether it's through your insurance or you paying out the pocket or whatever the case may be. But if you know what would happen if we went straight holistic and began to heal ourselves, because you have every component inside of you to heal yourself. You do. But when you keep that mindset that you don't want to change nothing, then how can you heal? You cannot. How can you heal? Still doing the same thing. Still, and alcohol. It's all right. Listen, everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. But do you know the weight gain from drinking liquor, especially brown liquor? And it will definitely give you diabetes. But nobody wants to stop. You see, they don't want to stop and shift how they're doing things. So of course, they're going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over. But if it's not working for you, you got to change something. I understand you're supposed to take the next two after your zodiac. You can. You can. Some people are at the cusp also in their zodiacs, but there's ways that you can people they'll manipulate that too if need be. They will. We just got to be careful what we're putting into our systems. And again, the message that was coming through when it came to the crows, pay attention to the signs. See, what is being feared is that the people are waking up. And we are definitely waking up. Because a lot of things have been hidden in plain sight, but we weren't paying attention. Now that we are paying attention, they're being more cautious. You see, a lot of things are coming out the woodwork, y'all. You see how silent things are right now? It's very quiet when it comes to certain areas. However, it's about to be a loud boom in the earth because there's a big shift coming, huge. And if you're not woke and paying attention to these signs, you're going to get caught in the crossfire. Yep. You got to be careful, and especially in our children, because see, we already dealing with, Earth is the most densest planet, so we already dealing with certain things on that level. When it comes to our children, remember that saying, "You are what you eat." I have a son, and because he likes not eating meat, but he loves to eat pasta and cheese pizzas and macaroni. And I'm guilty because I'll be like, oh, that's the easiest thing to fix. And I'll be fixing it. And then and when it comes to meat, if it look like meat, he ain't gonna eat it. He's not going to eat it. And see, I thought when he was little, when he was about 3 or 4, somewhere around there, he completely didn't want meat anymore. And I thought he was going to become a vegetarian because he wouldn't eat meat anymore. And my oldest son had wanted to stop too. But then I pushed it on them because that's all we used to eat. We used to eat chicken and beef. We didn't eat pork for several years. But chicken and beef, I would do, and smoked turkey and different things like that. And I pushed it on him. But when I began to shift, I came home one day and I said, all right, we're not going to eat no more. And the 13-year-old, he was like, okay. Well, he was 10. He was 10 then. And so he was like, okay, that's fine. And it was like, just like that. My oldest son, he still was on the meat. I mean, he was still on the chicken for a little while until he found out his blood type. And when he found out his blood type, which is B like mine, he was like, I don't need to eat that no more either. And the high school he was in, they were doing a blood drive, and he went to give blood at the school. And then he was like, I'm not going to do it anymore. He gets more emails and phone calls from Blue Cross. I mean, from who take the blood. So many phone calls. And I was like, well, damn, you must have got gold in your blood or something. It's the blood. It's in the blood. We have to be very careful with what we are allowing ourselves to put into our bodies. Yes, I had some monetization. Yes. So again, guys, I just wanted to come on here real quick and just drop those few lines with you all about what the crows, when I saw the crows, those are definitely my messengers. So, and again, I don't look at stuff like that like, oh, that's a bad omen, or that's evil, or no, because my bloodline, there, a lot of them are native. So the first thing I went to, even in spirituality, is what are these symbols? What are these signs? And crows do not exactly mean the harbinger of death at all times. They are messengers. They come to give us a particular message. And as long as you're still and you're quiet, you will know exactly what that message is. But as the amount that you see is very important. So if it's a murder of crows, trust me, that means it's a lot. And so the message is very, very powerful. And as long as we are listening to our guides, we will know exactly what the message is. Again, owls are very wise. They are protectors. Do not allow anybody to tell you all that this is evil and that is evil. They don't even know what evil is. A lot of them. They don't know what it is to be evil. Now, if you're going around killing people, drinking their blood and stuff like that, then I can consider that as evil. But learning what symbols are and learning how to be attentive to the signs is something that we're supposed to do. Our people always looked at signs all the time. This is how we could tell a lot of things, by being in tune with nature and learning the signs. It's very important for us to go back to some of the old ways. But see, they wanted to recondition us, to come away from paying attention to signs, being able to see what was going on. They didn't want us to know these things. They thought of us as animalists because we were in tune with nature. We ate whatever was in season and nothing more. And we must go back to it, because if we don't, we're going to see a lot more people dropping off of this earth. A lot more, because they won't change the mindset. Let me see. Yes, I will post my email after the live. Again, as I always do, guys, I always thank you all for all of the donations, all of the you've been calling for readings, all of the products. Again, y'all, please continue to use Etsy for the products. Something's going on with the Square site through my website. So Etsy is the best way to get your purchase your oils, your waist beads, your sachets, whatever. And thank you all again for that. But I'll put the email on. In fact, I can do it right now. So anybody have any questions? All right, let me make sure it's right. Okay. Oh, you are so welcome, Miss Anna. Listen, I'm telling you guys, it is so important that we are obedient. We must shift our mindset because there are a lot of things, again, coming down the pipeline. And what was the other message? Thank you, Karen. Being patient. You're welcome. Being patient. A lot of us are rushing into things, and Spirit is saying, wait, be still. Trust us. Not yet. Not your time, my time. Favor is upon your life. Trust us. Be still. Lean not to thine own understanding. Wait. There's a reason. Even when we want to do something so bad, there's a reason Source makes us wait. Because you don't know. Yes, pay attention to all those signs. You don't know what lies ahead. If you are put in the position where you have to wait, trust Source. There's a reason. There is a reason. I'm hearing that Spirit been telling someone that somebody was not for them. So it's either a male and female, two males, two females, whatever. Whatever floats your boat, floats your boat. But they're not for you. So Spirit is saying, be still. You asked me to show you if this person wasn't right for you. When we show you the person, you go against what we teach you and what we've shown you. And you do it anyway. And then when your heart get broken, you say, God, why you let this person hurt me? No, 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 no. They show you signs. And y'all, I'm going to be on it. Be careful who you let around your children. Some people do not, they will show you one face and have another face. There are a lot of false prophets out here, but there are also a lot of wolves in sheep clothing. Pay attention to your children. If your children do not like a person that you bring into your life, pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. Children are very precious and very sacred. And when a human that allows something to be inside of them, whether it be a demon or what, hurt a child, I speak death upon them. I don't care. Call me evil. But if you molest a child, hurt a child, or whatever to a child, I speak death upon your life. You know why? Because children are innocent, and I don't care. If they don't know better, they don't know better. You teach them better. But if you molest a child or you hurt a child in any way, I hope you die. Children are very sacred, very precious. And when my people come to me and tell me that something happened to their child, because pay attention to who you let around your children. Pay attention, y'all. Oh, good. Vita, good. However, when it's not, when there's a message coming through, it might not be for you, but it may be for you to tell somebody in your family. Be careful who you let around your children. But let me tell you something. That's one message. The second message, actually, that's two messages. First one was watching what we eating. 2, watch who you let around your children. And 3, watch programming. Be careful what you allow in your in here and in here. Pay attention. Pay attention. There's stuff being in the media right now that would have never taken place when we were growing up. But there's a reason you're seeing more and more and more of these programming coming through. There's a reason they're trying to push certain things on the people. Oh, this is okay. Oh, that's all right. Oh, this is fine. But it's not. Watch the programming, what you allow yourself and your children to listen to and look at. You see, my 13-year-old loves the TV. And I'm watching him and I'm like, what in the world is he watching? But I can tell you guys, the stuff that comes through the screen, if you don't think that there are certain spirits attached to certain programming, then I don't know what to tell you, but pay attention to what comes through. There's a reason that certain things are locked, because whatever you see, it can become something that is programmed inside of you if you're not careful. Okay. Yes. Y'all, now is the time for us to embrace nature, the mother, like never before. Because you realize the reason why things are changing is because the mother is tired of a lot of stuff that's been going on in this earth system, in this world system. And we got a lot of shifting to do as a people, because we were the natural guardians of this earth. And we know the whole story about what happened, how this was taken, that was taken, and we were lied to and it was stolen. We know this. But now things are shifting to make us get back into unity, to be back into control. But there's still some systems that need to be broken down. Still some things that need to be torn down. So these are signs. Exactly. Your input determines your output. I like that. So we have to pretty much shift with the vibrations of the earth. And listen, if you feel like it's not good for you, or if it's not meant for you, that's fine. But there is something that is meant for you. And we have to really, really, really dig deep to see where it's coming from, to see what we're attracted to. You know, there are some people that are attracted to animals. And I don't mean in a awful way. There are some people like that too. That's just disgusting. But you're attracted to animals because you're an animal healer. You can hear when something is going on with them. And so that's your area. There's a reason that you're attracted to helping animals. Trees, nature. There's some people that's very, very in tune with nature. There's a reason you're in tune with nature. There's a reason you're in tune with a lot of different things. Some people, like me, I have a variety that I'm attracted to, that I've been working with. And the reason why is because, like my sister says, Priestess said, it's in your lineage. It's in your bloodline. She said bloodline. I said lineage. She said bloodline. She said it's in your bloodline. And I was wondering, well, why am I attracted to that? But that was the reason, because it was in the bloodline. We are our ancestors, y'all. People will say, well, I ain't my ancestors and I'm not going to do that. Yes, you are. It's their blood running through the course of your veins. Of course, you're your ancestors. And it's important for us to venerate them because they can help us. But you got people out here that will tell you, oh, no, you don't supposed to do that. Why not? Our ancestors did it. They venerated their ancestors and then. So why can't we do it? They're telling you, oh, that's evil. That's like you're conjuring up spirits. Well, you got to know what you're doing, first of all. And you don't just venerate every single ancestor. If they were a child molester, why would you venerate that? If they were an alcoholic that was abusive and violent, why would you venerate that? It's common sense. But we got to be careful at all times. Yes, baby. Yes, it's true. Okay, hey, Keita. I didn't know that name for a minute. But guys, it's so important. It's a reason that we are the way we are for a particular reason. That's my sister Keita right there. And we were just talking one day we were talking, was it last week? And we were talking about when we were in different sectors, because we both have a Christianity background. A lot of us do. And shifting, learning, knowing your gifts. And some things you got to go back to your childhood and look at how you were. And it will come up why you were the way you were. I had a very sharp discernment as a child, even as a teenager. Discernment like this. And now it's even more heightened. You know why? Because I shifted. I changed everything. Y'all, let's get them likes up for me, please. Even though we got 14 people in the building. And there are some people who don't know how to deal with pain. When you have a pain on the inside, and I don't mean like a natural physical pain, but this pain is heart aching. This pain comes from being hurt, going through situations and circumstances, not knowing, and you think the world is against you. Let me tell you something. There's a reason we go through everything that we go through. Some of us, we inflict pain on ourselves. And you know how? Because we're disobedient to what source is saying. We want to do things our own way. And if it's not our way, it can hit the highway. And we got to sit back and pay attention to ourselves. What are we doing? What are we internalizing? What are we allowing to come into our cipher? And how many times are we going to allow it to happen? Because it's just like recycling yourselves over and over and over, every situation, every circumstance. It's just like recycling it over and over and over, because we want the outcome to be different. But in order for that, you got to do something different. If you realize the same way has not been working, then we must shift. And as we're doing this right now, and I hope we all are on one accord, because I'm going to activate something right here and right now, that your dreams and your visions, that they become more and more powerful each and every day. Some of us hear audibly. I decree and declare that your hearing is clear, that your ear gate becomes wide open, and you begin to hear like never before. If you're a seer, I decree and declare that you see like never before from this time forward. If you are a mouthpiece and you are called to encourage, to uplift, to bring people out of the clinches, then I decree and declare in this hour that you begin to do that unapologetically and unafraid, and that you do not doubt who you are. as a person, as a spirit, as a star seed, whatever. You came back here to do something. And a lot of us are sitting on the timelines and thinking that it's just going to drop. But you've been getting all kinds of signs. You've been getting all kinds of messages, but you've been putting them off. And why? Because of fear, because of doubt. How you start off? Well, Ms. Royal, I don't know where to start from. Go back to your childhood and ask Spirit to give you a remembrance of things, events, situations, circumstances as a child. And you will begin to know exactly what gifts you have, how people gravitate to you, how they operate. Oh, yes. Because as a child, you are more in tune with spirit when you are a child. And so if you had dreams when you were a dreamer when you were a child, and then all of a sudden they stopped, well, what blockers did you set up? A lot of people that I know, they don't want to see what comes through. You know why? Because there's certain type of seers. Some people see, and I'm being honest because I'm one of them. And this is why crows are my spirit animals, one of them. When I was in Christendom and I was being used in my office as a prophetess, the messages were not always new cars and new houses. My messages were more like, if you don't stop, this is going to happen. This is going to come knocking at your door. This is going to be the last day you ever be able to do this. That's the kind of prophet I was. So who really want to call you at their church when they know you coming with the truth? And I had my issues when I was in Christendom. I dated a guy. He got married on me. And because he got married, he still didn't want to leave me alone. And they were trying to run that through the muck. Oh, he was messing with a married man. Man, please. No, I wasn't. Because when I left him alone, I left him alone. But let me tell you something. All of us, no matter what sector, if you are in Christianity, if you are a spiritualist, an occultist, whatever the case may be, that doesn't mean you become perfect overnight. As people people try to portray. I had issues, just like everybody else. But when I was used as the prophet that I was, I came in to break stuff off of people. And if it meant to tell you to leave that man wife alone, or you better stop that stealing, and you know you're the only one in the whole church know that you're a thief, then I'm going to give you the message that Spirit told me to give. And if you come in the prayer line and you want to whisper things, can you tell me if such and such and such? I'm going to give it to you raw. And so that's how I was. And I am the same way as I am right now. When my soul contract called me out of Christendom, I was not sad. And if you ask me to this day, if I miss it, I'll tell you, hell no. I don't miss it. Because I don't like fake. I don't like, and this is something that I had to deal with myself as well. I don't like to come together and we're supposed to build one another. We're supposed to uplift one another. And the only thing that people can do is tear each other down. See who come in with the best clothes. I couldn't stand to see people with their last dollar in their pockets. And you telling them that God said for them to give everything that they have and he'll bless them. I hate that. And let me tell you something. have been transformed by source, my ancestors, my spirit guides, my ascended masters, all of them. I venerate all of them, my gods, goddesses, everything. Because when I realized in that sector that I was called a witch, which means wise woman people. If you're being called a wizard, a warlock, a witch, it means you are wise. And they want to stop you in your tracks. Because we are the ones that can go into those sectors, Ashe, and tear systems down. And they don't like that. So when I was called to a ministry, if I wasn't led to go, then I didn't go. But if I did go and there was a message to be given, it was what Spirit was saying for that house, for that particular time. And I had one apostle. I miss her very much because, well, I'll tell you. Anyway, she told me, we had a big group that we used to go out to Durham, North Carolina. And we had like a school of the prophets type of thing. It was like 12 or 13 of us. And we would go out there in Durham. And she wouldn't let nobody touch her belly or speak over her and her daughter except for me. And the next day when it was time for us to leave, she was in tears and she said, "Prophet, listen, demons hate when you open your eyes in the morning. When you wake up from your rest, they hate it. Because every time you go through, you tearing down something." And this is the thing. Y'all, what I have learned as an occultist, not all demons are evil. There are some angels you got to worry about. There's some spirits you got to worry about. And where some people think that it's demons, it can be tranquil spirits. Priestess always says that. It can be tranquil spirits that you are having an encounter with. And you think it's a demon, but it's not. But let me tell you something. Yes. Oh, don't worry, because you learn with timing. So this is the thing. We must see what we don't want to see. When you come to me, whether it's for a reading, a spiritual guidance, or whatever the case may be, whatever I'm pulling out, y'all don't get offended. Because somebody had to do it to me. And what that means is the areas that stagnates your growth, the things that you need to give up, the things that you need to change, though hard or painful it may be, it is something that you must do in order for you to move to the next level. This is not the time to stay stagnated and stagnant and stuff that we got. First of all, unlearn a lot of stuff. Unlearn. I got some friends who are still in Christendom. And you know what Spirit had me to do? As much as I love them, Spirit had me to cut off communication. Because see, I don't need nobody coming here and trying to convince me that what I live, how I'm living is the devil and is evil and you're going to hell. Because I am wise enough to know that whatever is inside of you will show on the outside of you. Ashe, there is something that we must unlearn. And what the main thing to unlearn is everything that we've been taught. There's a reason it was pushed on us. You can, if there's something so hard, there's a problem with that. Things are supposed to come to us easy. And when you are fighting for something and you keep losing that battle, there's a reason. So let me explain that. If you go to a place, a ministry, whatever the case may be, and you leave beat up, spirit dry, you don't even remember the whole sermon, there's a reason for that. Let me tell you what that reason is. You didn't agree with that. It was done to make you feel some type of ways about yourself. I know it. I know some people out in ministry, and they like to play matchmaker. So when you went to their ministry, if you were single and beautiful, you liked your hair done, you like your clothes, nicely fit, they were trying to marry you off. But you know why? Because they had husbands with wandering eyes. One of the biggest things in Christendom is always trying to be in competition with somebody else. And if they thought that their husbands was looking at you or something like that, they've been trying to hook you up with somebody. I done got try to get hooked up like several times, and I'm like, that ain't even my taste. That ain't even my cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? But because at that time I had my hourglass shape, and I used to wear the relaxers, and if I did, I probably had in tracks or whatever the case may be, makeup done, lit, everything. But it wasn't for all of that. Going to church to look for a man and all kind of stuff like that. I truly was genuine in my service, and still am genuine in what I do right now, because I know that I was called out of that area. And when you're being called out of it, it's going to feel like it's the worst thing in the world for you to leave. But you will continue to get beat up in the spirit until you're obedient. You know what that feels like, to get beat up in the spirit? Oh yeah, they'll lay hands on you quick. It feels like you don't hear God, feel God, or nothing. And everything that you do backfires. Getting beat up in the spirit don't feel good, y'all. But when you say, okay, this wasn't working, let me change it. Let me shift it. Let me do this. Let me see how this turns out. You see a whole lot different, because you took the step to back up and examine yourself. See, a lot of people preach that, examine yourself, but they don't examine themselves. They don't examine themselves, because you would do things a whole lot different if you examine your own self. I try to examine myself every day. Whenever I'm doing a reading, whatever I'm a spiritual advisory, I stop and think, because I'm hearing spirit at the same time to give you what you need. But if spirit says, yes, you see that, but don't say that, there's a reason you don't speak it out of your mouth at that particular time. Because see, spirit is telling you that person ain't ready to accept that. Don't put that on them yet. And when you go to these sectors and people and you feel like, oh, they talking about me, that's just a little bit of conviction of something that you know you're doing and you shouldn't do. Now, see, It's different from morals and just knowing that that's going to come back and backfire on you. You see? Because, again, y'all, if somebody harms a child or molests an innocent child, I am not the one to come and tell that to. Because I am not going to say, oh my God, he's sick. Let's pray for that person, please. Jesus will save him. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, what's his name? And by the time me and some people are done, they will not molest another child again. They won't be able to get up. And I don't feel bad about saying that. Love and light has its place. And there are some times when you must use dark matter. And there's a reason for that. But see, people are so, well, I think that's evil or that's bad. The hell it is. No. If you're going around and you're raping women, I'm not going to light no white candle and say, oh, well, let's just pray for them. Because they don't know what they're doing. Not Leah. Not Ms. Royal. I am not. If you are raping the divine feminine, molesting children, and let me tell you, see, this is the difference. See, the people in Christendom, some of them, because not all of them, one of the prophetesses that I know, love her to life, she will tell me all the time, I don't care what you practice. I love you as a person and I know you're real. But let me tell you something. One of the things that is being done is there's a lot of hidden stuff. I'm an exposer. And so when I was in Christendom, I was used as an exposer by source to expose the stuff that people try to hide. And I'm still that way as a spiritualist. You feel me? So some things that you try to hide, you got to be set free from. If you are molesting children, raping children, robbing Peter to pay Paul, breaking into people's houses, that is not love and life for me. And I'm going to make sure in the realm of the spirit that you don't break into another person's house. You don't rape another child or another woman, molest another child. You don't do none of the things. You don't rape another little boy, another little girl, because little boys get penetrated too. If those are the things that you think is okay, and I don't care if you in Christendom, you in spirituality, I don't care. Whatever you are in, me and some of my peoples, we will not be light with that. If you are fooling people to take money from them, no. In that sector, you have people that think because you study the occult that that's the devil. When they got people right amongst them that are raping little children, raping women, doing all kind of foolishness and fuckery in the church, supposedly the church, which we are the church, but that's a different story. You see what I'm saying? They're doing all of this stuff, but they're sitting here saying, if you an occultist, you evil. If you talk about demons, angels, and Nephilims and star seeds and different things, then you the devil. But then you got the devil sitting right next to you in the pew. When they leave the church, they already got their eye on the little child they're going to try to molest. Or they might have one at home that they're already molesting. You got the devil right next door to you. When he leave his house, he go and find women to rape. But the occultist is evil. If you talk about black magic, if you talk about dark arts, if you talk about dark matter, is evil? People need to get their mind checked, and they need to change their perception of different things. Our people knew how to look at the sky and be able to fine tune their hearing and see when they needed to take cover. They saw when they needed to get the people amongst each other because they heard a message that something was coming through and they needed to protect their families. You see, our people knew how to take cowrie shells or bones, cards, and be able to tell things. So the fortune teller is the devil? If you were born psychic, because let me tell you something, it don't matter how much you try to take psychic courses. You got to be born with that. Now, you can learn little things. You can learn little things. But a witch, a wizard, a psychic, this is something that you're born with. And there's a thin line. What this woman used to tell me, there's a thin line between the psychic and the prophet. No, it's not. As I'm learning even more. And let me tell you why it's not. Prophetess is only, and it will always be, an office that you must recognize. Because once you step into that office, you can't turn back. And you 9 times out of 10 do have psychic powers because you're an oracle. So you may be a seer, or you may be audience. What is it? Audience cleansance when you hear. Yeah. Clairvoyant. Prophetess only means you were born here with a gift. And it holds an office. And in that office, you can be clairvoyant. You can be a medium. I was a head prophet of 2 ministries. And dead people before they die, they would come to me before they die. I've seen people's deaths, some of them 6 years before it happened. You see? But when my soul contract called me out of there, I embraced that I knew I was a medium, that I knew that I worked with the dead. I embraced it because it's what made me different. You see? And when you going through the motions, learning yourself, you're right about that. Learning yourself, you know how to embrace your gifts. It is nothing to be afraid or ashamed of because you are different. The problem people have is accepting that you're different. But that's their problem. It's not yours as long as you embrace it. You see? All of us are a piece of a puzzle. And we come together to form something great. But as long as you are fearful of who you are, you will never fully embrace. Yes, yes, yes. I like that, Lady Owl. You know that there are family members, families that try to hide secrets. Little Johnny was molested by Uncle Tim. And Uncle Tim said if little Johnny told, then he's going to kill the whole family. Now, let me ask you something. That puts a child in a very awkward place because that child is afraid if they speak, everybody going to die. You see? But when that child grows up, Ashe, when that child grows up, that child is harboring all of these things inside of that child. It puts them in a dark place. And they grow up confused. You see? And they hold a secret for years and years and years and years. Until the uncle die. Then the truth come out. No. That truth need to come out when their uncle there. That truth need to come out when their uncle is alive. You know why? Because that daddy or that mama or that other uncle, whoever, gonna put a beating on his tail that he ain't never had before. And they probably lock his ass up. But you know what? That's exactly what he deserves. Because you harm a child. You know what? You know what, Tanya? We already talked about that. However, that baby you got is very powerful. She is very powerful. And let me tell y'all something. This little girl looked at me on a picture. She's 5. And she said, "You look like a goddess. You teach love?" She's 5. She's 5, y'all. And then I called her the next day, and she grabbed the phone from her mom and went and took the phone outside and said, "Yeah, I said, you wanted me to call you?" She says, "Yes, but turn your camera on because I need to see you." So I turned my camera on, and this little girl is like, "Are you going to teach me about the portals? You a goddess, and you teach love." The child is powerful. And to others, she seems weird because she is still connected to the divine. You know, our children kind of lose that as they get older. But she's 5. Don't ever let her lose that. Her innocence is very key to how she perceives things and how she gets messages. The low child is powerful, and she reminds me of myself growing up as a child. My mom told me so many stories about when I was a little girl and the things that I did. And it's only because of protection. You see, some of the things that we do, we're protected. Let me see. I just had this very same conversation with my granddaughter and mother and ex. Okay. Oh, she was talking to her. True indeed, because when my parents died, I found out some secrets via the spirit and had to release so much belief, so many beliefs. Y'all listen. If we don't, and it starts with the family, if we don't embrace one another and start breaking some of these secrets, it's almost like damnation. You know why? Because somebody told me a long time ago, there's nothing good in secrecy. If you got to keep it a secret, then that means there's something wrong with that. When it comes to family, if you're in a secret society and you can't tell people certain things, that's not what I mean. I mean, when you are harboring the truth about things that can mess a child up and mess them up as an adult as well, because they had to keep the secret or they wasn't showing the affection, the attention, the love. It damages them. I work with Saturn energy too. And let me tell y'all something. If you're working with Saturn, you have to remember Saturn is over the bones and the teeth, and Saturn deals with karma. Karma. Now, you got some spiritualists out here, they don't believe in karma, they don't believe in angels and demons and God and devil and different things. That's your business. But I believe in karma because I believe in reaping and sowing. So how you know it's real? Because whatever you put in is what you're going to get back out. If you plant seeds to get cabbage, you ain't going to get a bag of money out there. You're going to get cabbage. So you get out what you give. If you're harming people in this earth realm and you pass on, you're going to be tormented on the other side. Because guess what? We're going to see to it. You don't go around hurting people. Just killing up people. Molesting children, raping women. Stealing from your mama so you can go buy crack. You think that you just getting by, baby, but you ain't getting away. Saturn deals with karma. And if you don't think, yes, Saturn is the oldest. If you don't think it's coming back to you, keep on living. Whatever frequency and energy you are letting out here is what you are going to get back. There's a reason for it. That's why even I had to change. Oh, I wasn't always a nice person. Hell no. Because I had to fight for stuff. And when I went to family for help, I got doors shut in my face. So I said to Spirit, put me in a position where I don't got to ask anybody for nothing. And if I had to suffer, I'd rather suffer before I ask anybody for anything. And then it changed as I grew up, But that's how I was. So it's almost like Ciroc, the rapper, says, life made her a scavenger. So she never prayed before her meals because that's how she grew up. She grew up having to fight for every single meal or whatever. And so it made her like that. Life made her like that. She didn't pray before her meals. You see? And she put it in the songs. I love Ciroc. However, with me, it was always like a people don't do what they say type of thing. And yeah, you promised me this and you don't come through. So I build my family outside of blood family. And I love my blood family. I love them to life. You see? But I was, since a teenager, since a child, I pull myself from certain energies. You see? And it felt like I don't act like I'm family. But when I came to you, I don't go to nobody unless I need help. And see, if you really had embraced and helped, it would have caused a bond. But when you shut people down and slap them in the face and say, oh, they only call when you need something. If I call you, then I must be really needed something. And you can't go around still living off of that because I've grown, I've changed, I've elevated myself. But Spirit has always shown me, and ancestors, listen, this is why venerating them is so important. Because where blood relative won't do, ancestors will do. They will make way. Spirit, source, make way. I'm telling you. But it has to do with you and the frequency you vibrate on. If you still fearing and you still doubting, how you go? It's just like the Bible says. You don't waver and you don't doubt because A double-minded man is unstable in all their ways. So if you believe that your ancestors and spirit source is going to come through for you, then you better believe that and stand on it. Is what trust come from. Because when you waver and you doubt, what can you expect to get? You don't even believe that they're going to help you. And through all of it, I built a spiritual family, my soul tribe, and still building it. Because they say blood thicker than water, but it's always the water that's there that got your back. And water is the conduit to spirit. So I will depend on that water until spirit said, now this is over now. Let them move on. It's just like, and y'all probably remember this, when Yahshua was going through, and I believe something was asked, and he said, who is my mother? And he was talking about who gave birth to him. Oh, put it in. Go ahead. Can you do it from there? And so this is the deal, guys. He said, who is my mother? You know what that meant? How many of you know what that meant? Who is my mother? It meant my mother is whoever is nourishing me at that time. That is my mother. Who is my family? My family is who I can support and who can support me at that time. Your vibe attracts your tribe. But you got blood relatives who don't even flow with you like that. They don't even think on you on that level. So that ain't your tribe. That's your family member. But that's not your tribe. They don't even believe in what you believe in. Y'all see? Let me see. Yes. You see, like they said, it takes a village to raise a child. But let me tell y'all, and the reason why this disturbs my heart is because it's still going on to this day. Learn that village. Because somebody had emailed me, and it was like they don't know who to trust because they let their child go to a relative and the child didn't come back the same. In fact, it was 2 children and they didn't come back the same. So if you can't trust your family, who the hell can you trust? Who the hell can you trust? But it's sometimes those people that will molest your children, and they're an uncle, a daddy, a sister, a brother. One of my relatives, she doesn't live here anymore. But when we were young, a woman molested her. An aunt molested her. And it took forever for her to come out. When I noticed that she was different, and she's a proud prophetess. But when I saw the difference in how she moved and how she was quiet and silent, and she told me what had happened, I wanted to kill the lady. I'm not being honest. Because to me, you're damaging an innocent child. You see? And so you know what that did? When she had her children, she moved away from the East Coast to the West Coast. It put her in a different kind of spin of life. Y'all see what I'm saying? It put her in a different, because she didn't want her children around any family member because of what happened to her. She didn't want them around any of them because she didn't know who to trust. So she went out there on the West Coast and built her spiritual family over there. And she was so mad at me. Y'all gonna laugh. She was so mad at me because she had just have one of my baby cousins, and he was a boy. And I was talking to her one day, and I said, she said, well, I'm having a boy. And I said, well, I'm not going to take back what I said. She had the baby, went to California on a little vacation with her husband. And I said, I said, y'all had a good time? She said, yes. I said, well, you better go to the doctor because you're pregnant with that little girl. She was like, I don't want to hear that. That's not true. Went to the doctor. A couple of weeks later, pregnant. So she was mad at me. But she said, see, that's why I see you just. And I said, but you know what, cuz I love you. But you know how I am. If I say something, it's coming. See, the thing is, guys, when we speak something, it doesn't mean that it happens all the time at the same time. It can have an effect to have a process to wait before you actually see the results. You see? This is so deep. Thank you so much for always speaking truth. I needed that. I love you guys, of course. I have to speak the truth because, see, when I don't speak whatever source is saying for me to allow to come out into the atmosphere, then trust me when I tell you, I get whipped. Listen, I know how it feels. So if y'all see me tell y'all something and it hits right here, it's only for your good because it's a part of growing. And sometimes, and see, some things cause you to grow at a more rapid pace once you receive it, once you allow yourself to embrace that truth. So it's like this. If you know that you get upset very easily, y'all, embrace that. Don't go around saying, I don't get mad at nothing. I don't believe in that. And I don't get mad for nothing. You just lied to yourself. Embrace that part of you. It's your shadow. You know what the shadow does? It can protect you if you know how to embrace it. There is a show, y'all ever see? Oh, Black Lightning. Was it Black Lightning? Black Lightning on Netflix. And one of the actors, his name on there is Khalil. But he has a shadow side called Painkiller. And Khalil will still whip you behind, but he has embraced who he is as Khalil, and he knows how to stop himself. Painkiller coming to kill you. And sometimes he had to let, that's my show too. Sometimes he had to let Painkiller do what he do. So when you got a shadow, don't be afraid of that shadow, but know how to control that shadow. Because if your shadow is very, it's that thing you try to hide from people, you don't want them to see it. There's a reason that you feel, if you're a woman and you're very sensual or very sexual, that is not something to be afraid of. It is who you are. But now when you out here and you doing anything and everything, and you taking that and you being, then you're going to have to, listen, you're going to have to deal with what comes along with that. It may come with a bad reputation. It may come with a disease because you ain't careful. It may come into your problem. What is it? Y'all, what is it? Proximity, what do you know? When you are overtly sexual, there's a reason that you need to be able to control that. Promiscuity. Yes, it was right on top of my tongue. Y'all know how that go. Y'all, let's get these likes up for me. Let me see. My shadow has got people up off me. They left me alone. They think I'm crazy. Promiscuous. Yes. Yeah. But you know what, Anna? Sometimes you got to let it out. And you know why? Because it's just like keeping your mouth closed all the time. When you know that you need to speak something, but your shadow says, well, you better not say nothing. Or no, your mind says you better not say nothing. But your shadow is saying, you better speak it. You better say it. You better speak your truth. You better speak your truth. If you don't speak your truth, then they're not going to respect you. And your mind is saying, no, just give them a chance. And then they keep walking over you and walking over you and walking over you. But once you allow that shadow to speak your truth, it does, and keep people off of you because they recognize that you are not a pushover. They recognize that you're not a dummy. And they recognize as well that you are not going to allow all things to come about the way that people want it to. You can limit what you allow to happen to you in your life and your family. You control that. Now, I'm not saying just go ahead and just always talk trash to people. Sometimes you got to be able to tame it. But there's a reason and there's a season. So there's times where you got to keep it closed. And there's times when you need to reveal it. Somebody told me one time about my mom. My mom was a peacemaker. And she really kept her mouth shut a lot because she knew what would happen if she spoke certain things. So she didn't just say whatever came to her mind. She tried to use wisdom and speak it when it was an appropriate time. She was in control of it, not me. I was saying whatever I had to say. And if you talked about my mom or if you did this, I was coming out. I don't like fuckery. And so I just was going off of it. And it's something I still have to contain. It's something I still have to control because I will speak it because I've embraced my shadow. But then see, I've learned also there's a time and a place for everything, and everything that you feel like saying, you shouldn't always say. And you know how I learned that? In Christendom, I used to have a young lady. She would call me. And she would just call sometimes 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And one time, my shadow was wide awake, and I think I was asleep. My name was my real name is Leah, and my shadow, her name is Shanique. And I think Shanique was wide awake, and Leah was asleep. And when I answered the phone, this is what I said. If you calling me this time of morning and talk about this man and all kind of stuff like that, I really ain't want to hear that mess. You don't wake me up out my sleep. I ain't got time for that. And the girl was like, well, I was calling to tell you something else, but I wasn't even thinking about that. But never mind. And never called again. And so growing, don't laugh, y'all. Growing with the times, I had to remember sometimes you got to be quiet and let people speak first instead of just going out and just blah, 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 blah. There's a reason that you be slow to speak and quick to hear. Oh, yeah, I tamed it because I don't want to go to jail because my shadow is like the Grim Reaper. with the sticks ready to take her. Listen, I understand that because when I was growing up, my uncle had 3 daughters, but at that particular time, the youngest one was smaller, and he took two of them. He taught them how to play basketball, and me, I was the one that he had going rounds, fighting people and all kind of stuff. I've been the fighter, and I was like, why am I different? He said, well, you're light skinned, so you need to know how to fight and protect yourself. I was like, that ain't no reason to be teaching me. I was out there fighting boys. I was out there fighting girls, and he would do rounds. And so it put that fighting spirit particularly on me. So whenever you talked about my mom, I wanted to tear your ass up. And whenever you talked about my family, I wanted to beat you behind. Whenever you did this, I wanted to fight you. You can't go around fighting every dang on body. Somebody gonna kill you out here. I did all kind of crazy stuff. And I have learned my lesson to the T. But you know what a young lady told me? Her she's still in Christendom and everything, but she saw me one day at a spiritual shop, because a lot of them go into spiritual shops. They talk about Jesus, but they go in there and get some hot foot powder and all kind of stuff like that, try to break stuff. I don't know why. It just makes no sense. However, so she said that she was telling my son that she used to get bullied a lot until she started hanging around with me, and how people did not mess with her no more when she started hanging around with me. And it wasn't that I was going around telling you better not mess with her. It was just the reputation I had, that she felt like, oh, well, she was safe. And so I started thinking about that. And I was like, you know what? That's why I'm like that. Even with my spiritual children, they be pulling on me sometime, and I'm on a phone call and texting, seeing what's going on with them, because I'm picking it up. Something's going on with them. It's how you build a spiritual family. And when you're nurturing them, now sometimes you got to give them their space. You see, and I do. I try to give them their space, and I don't pry. But when they're pulling on me, I'll just say, hey, everything okay? Y'all doing all right? And I'll leave it there, because you don't want to pry and make people uncomfortable. But when you are building your spiritual family, you're connected. So if you hurt, I hurt. If you're in pain, I'm in pain. That's how it should be. It should be that way. But it doesn't mean, well, let's play on these people here. Let's play on their intelligence. Let's because you got some people out there like that. When they know you're loving and kind and giving, they will play on your intelligence, and they will call you with all kind of stuff, just so you can either give them money, or so that you can come and be their savior. So you got to be able to separate the wheat from the chaff, the wheat from the tares. You got to be able to do that. You got to be able to say, when it's time to sit back, you sit back. When it's time to go forth, you go forth. And it happens even in spirituality. You got people in spirituality that they're out just for straight money. They out for straight money. You'll call them for a reading and say that you feel like something is on you, or somebody doing something to you, and they'll say, oh my, well, let me see what the cards say. Oh my gosh. Do you know a John, or a Tracy, or a Bill? And yeah, I know a Bill. That's my ex-boyfriend from 3 years ago. Oh my gosh. Well, Bill put this horrible thing on you because what? Did you break up with Bill? Yeah, I broke up with Bill. Oh, well, baby, there's something on you, and you $1,500, I can get it off. I have had several people I've read for, and they have went to other readers, and the readers told them that they They had a hex on them. They had this on them. Somebody done take them and cross them up, and it wasn't nothing on these people. Now, sometimes that is the case. And with that, you got to deal with it as it comes. But honey, half of them, I'd be like, no, you don't. You don't have a hex on you. But the reason why this happened is because of your disobedience. Just give them to them raw. You've been disobedient to a lot of things that Source has been telling you. And this is the repercussions of your ignorance. Because, see, people think ignorance means stupid. No, it don't. Ignorance just means that you are unaware of something, and that when it comes to the light, then now you have knowledge of it, but you were ignorant of it before. It doesn't mean dumb. There are some things, okay, there are some things in politics that I'm ignorant of because I don't follow a lot of that stuff. You see, that ain't my sector. My passion is helping people through spirituality. I love this. And so it is my passion. And no, it don't always pay all the bills. But guess what? My heart feels content when I do it. And guess what? The bill's going to get paid because the money going to come another way because I was obedient to help people like Source told me. When you do stuff out of love and care and concern and not stupidity. Remember, Saturn is dealing with reaping and sowing, karma. So when you push out there love and compassion and helping people, and it is your passion, the intensity of doing what's right, it's going to come back around full circle as a blessing to you. But if you're doing this and doing that, it's going to come back. It may be horrible for you because that's the energy you were putting out there. So you have to be able to balance. That's why I love my art over the Libra, the scales. You better be able to balance. There's a reason there's light and there's dark. Yes, she will. The Great Mother will. And there is a reason, guys, for light and dark. There's a reason. And if you are all light all the time, trust me, one day that shadow is going to break free. And you're going to wish you was allowing your shadow to do what it needed to do when it needed to do it. And trust me, when you all dark, there's a reason that you need to allow your light to shine through sometimes. Because when you fully all dark, you're going to pay for that. That's a frequency that you're vibrating on that you're going to need to learn to balance. I try to balance because I am a Capricorn. I can go very straight dark. I can go all dark. Dark don't mean evil, y'all. Y'all know this. Dark don't mean evil. It means you know how to use dark matter. You know how to use dark magic. And you prefer to use dark magic or dark matter. The darker energies. But it shows up on your face. It shows up in your body. So you must balance. You must balance. Let's see here. That is my motto. I keep my skills balanced in everything I do, especially when I deal with people. I really have to because Saturn is heavy in my readings. Yes. And as I told you, I'm a Capricorn, so I very much work with Saturn a lot too. I love Saturn. Priestess Agate sent out a mantra for Saturn. And every Saturday, listen, planetary times, when it's Saturn hour, I give thanks to Saturn. When it's a Saturday, which is Saturn day, I play that mantra first thing in the morning because it gives you. See, first of all, we need to go back into worshiping with Saturn. Why? Because they gave us Sunday when the Sabbath is Saturn Day. Saturn Day. That is the Sabbath. And trust me when I tell you, Saturn energies, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till she come out of retrograde. Oh, wow, I'm an Aquarius. Yep, I can go all out with my dark energy, but I work with Oshun, two opposite of Saturn energy. Yes. Now, see, my father is Shango, and I'm a Oya, but what balances me is the Yimiya and the Obatala. That's what gives me a little bit of balance. Because if I'm feeling straight Oya, or you won't know that I'm feeling straight Oya, you're going to be able to tell. Because remember, Oya is at the cemetery. Yes. Oh, yes. And we must balance our energies. Indeed. Yes. Ashe. Anybody got any questions? Y'all, let's get these likes up. We got 22 people in the building and we only got 15 likes. Unless y'all don't like it, then I understand. Anybody got any questions? Ooh, thank you for the Cash App, Tanya. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, you know my number. Hi, I'm new here. Is the great mother Hecate and Erishkigal the same? I was told Hecate is walking with me. Now, Erishkigal and Nana, those are primordial. There are primordial energies. Hecate was what who they would call the goddess of the witches. If I'm not mistaken, that's Hecate. And she has three faces: maiden, mother, and crone. And so basically, if that's who you've been told that you're walking with, then you should definitely do a lot of studying on that. And then also see who you yourself, not what you were told, but who yourself gravitates to, who you feel more connected with. Now, if you feel connected with Hecate, then you should study up on her even the more. But 9 times out of 10, it's maiden, mother, and crone. So you're talking about the three energies of the moon phases: the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And when we're dealing with Saturn, we're dealing with straight crone. In this season, we're dealing with the crone side. And how do you pronounce your name? You? Anybody have any questions? Now, Erishkigal also, if I remember correctly, Erishkigal is like still over the underworld. So Erishkigal is over the underworld. And when you're dealing with underworld, so you're dealing with like, you know, Mayat is over is connected to the underworld, and so is Anubis and Kemet. So see, when you're talking about Hecate and in the different sectors, you're so welcome, honey. You're still pretty much going into just different genres or pantheons or whatever, because one is Greek, one is Kemet, one is Yoruba, but there's very much similarities in different Daniet. Okay. Crows and ravens are similar, but one is different from the other. One has, now ravens are they're very great too, but they kind of collide with one another when people try to cipher them, the differences between them. And one is more so, they kind of call it more of the harbinger of death and all kind of stuff, or they say the other one is, more of a bad omen or whatever the case may be, but they're very similar. And once you start studying crows, eventually you're definitely going to go and study up what the ravens are as well, because they're very similar. But when you get like a murder of crows, you don't really get a whole lot of murders of ravens like that. But you do get a murder of crows that flock together. That's how they are. It's more than 5, sometimes more than 6 crows that flock. Peace. How you doing, Lakeith? Welcome. How can I bless my oil for a 7-day candle? And do I put oil on the glass? When you are blessing the candle, you go upways, but you can put the oil in your hand and you go upways. Speak your intentions and you bless the candle upways. You can also speak your intentions in the candle, put a little bit of the oil in it, and then you can, once you light the wick, listen guys, I always tell people this, once you light the wick, you have actually sealed your intentions. So once it begins to burn, whatever intentions you placed in that candle or on the oil, when you bless it, it is set in motion once you light that wick. Let me see. Hey, Ms. Royal. Hi, everyone. Glad I caught you. We're glad you caught us too, sweetie. Thank you. What is caterpillars on the porch? It was like 6 and 1 in the house. Now, caterpillars, just think about caterpillars and what they represent. Caterpillars, now they have different meanings. So there's a native site that you can go in and you say, what's the spiritual meaning of this? If you're seeing something over and over, there's a reason you're probably seeing it. But caterpillars, before they go into cocoons and become that butterfly, they go through their little stages. So remember, like I told you, you got a star seed in that house. So you see one thing, remember what it means in the natural sense. But when you start looking at the spiritual sense of it, you get a deeper meaning. So before that caterpillar turns into that butterfly, it's going to go into the cocoon stage before it submerges. But you're seeing a bunch of them. So just look up the spiritual meaning of caterpillars. Oh, I know. That is kind of weird because you're seeing so many at one time. Yes, you're seeing a lot. You're seeing a lot at one time. So just pay attention to that. Now, let me tell you, if you're seeing like a bunch of other things, because caterpillars are pretty much, they're kind of harmless, And then when they turn into the butterfly, they're beautiful. But they had to go through, what is it called, homostasis or something like that? They had to go through that transformation to get that. That's it. That's it. Trees. Okay. Any reason why I keep dreaming of Anubis? If you're dreaming about Anubis, Diana, that means he's trying to connect with you. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of Anubis. See, if you were to listen to other people, they would tell you, oh, that's the devil. Anubis is evil. Anubis is not evil. Anubis is very powerful. And there's a reason he's appearing to you. So you got to try to see what is the message. So what you do is study up on Anubis. Anubis made sure the transport to the underworld was a safe transportation. Look up Anubis. He's coming to you for a reason. And it's not evil. Yes, we do. Yes, Anna. And that's why I said you gotta pay attention to seeing so many of them, because you went through changes, and then the thing is the caterpillar goes through its changes. So that's a message there. There's some changes about to take place. And Tanya, there's some changes about to take place, one day at a time. Wow. So glad I logged on just now and caught your live, goddess. Oh, Gina, I am so happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome, Diana. Yeah, just don't be afraid of it. It's a reason he's appearing to you. I had a young friend and she used to see alligators a lot. It was Sebek. He was coming for a particular reason. She used to see alligators in dreams. And you know what else? Let me tell you something. Pay attention to what you see. Because when I had got that interpretation for her, and this was when I was in Christendom, and I haven't been in that for a long time. And so she was having dreams about alligators. And even though it was Sebek and the Kemet, we had to dig in deeper with the alligators. And so she had some enemies. Alligators can reside on land and in the water. And what would happen is when she would dream about these people, these enemies, they were doing a lot of talking behind her back, which is when the alligators were under the water, because it was being done behind her back. And then she would dream about them being on land. That's when they were talking with her and being a goody two-shoe friend, but they were not her friends and they were not good for her. And so basically, when we deciphered and broke the dream up, there were different symbols in it that allow her to know who they were. And when it hit the fan, listen, everything that was given to her with the interpretations of those dreams came into full blast fruition right there. One of them backstabbed the other friend and told her everything that was being said behind her back and everything. And, it was very symbolic. So if she saw herself being caught in the jaws of the alligator, then we knew that it would have been something even worse. But it was just a bunch of alligators and they were in the water, and then they would come up out of the water and onto land. And that's what they would do. They would talk about her behind her back, and then they would come and hang with her and be with her, chill out with her. But she was dreaming about those alligators for that very reason. Sarah mother, who I was started working with, or your energy actually ended. Pay attention to your dreams. Yes, you got to pay attention to them. Y'all, everything has significance, and when you're seeing them, see there now. You don't want to get to a place where you're trying to decipher everything. If the kitchen light turned off, it doesn't mean there's a spirit that turned it off. It could mean you need a new light bulb. So you want to always pay attention to what's going around you, but then you also want to make sure you're not overdoing or overthinking certain things. If you're seeing a bunch of snakes, there's a reason. If you're seeing alligators, or if you're seeing a bunch of dogs, Diana, dogs also are symbolic of Anubis. So if you're seeing dogs a lot, if you're seeing cats a lot, that's Bastet. If you're seeing lions and different things like that, that's Sekhmet. You know, if you're seeing what else? A lot of storms and different things, that's Oya. If you're seeing a lot of lightning bolts and different things like that, thunderstorms, that's Shango. If you're seeing what else? A lot of bees and different things like that, that's Oshun. My bad, misspelled your name, goddess. Oh, it's okay. Google metaphysical meaning of caterpillars. That's a good one too. Are so wild. And yep, I purchased Miss Royal dress or candles. They have powerful results. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Thank you. Dragonflies as well. Yes, dragonflies are another form of transformation. They also represent transformation. Butterflies, dragonflies. Listen, you would be surprised of how many different symbols mean transformation. Deers have a very significant reason, meaning. It's almost as if it's like it's a form of prosperity. And I'm telling you, one time I used to see so many deers. I mean, at one time, deers. Yes. And I think I told you that too, Tanya, that you needed to start writing down your dreams and keeping a log. Guys, let me tell you, and I'm guilty of it. I don't always write down my dreams, and I have to start back doing it. But because sometimes cares of life, sometimes you just get sidetracked and you got to do different things. However, keeping a dream journal is very significant, because when you don't remember certain things about the details and the symbols of a dream and you wrote it down, you can go back and you can just kind of decode the dream. You can kind of break it apart, because breaking it apart, learning the symbols and putting it together is how you actually go forth full force in interpretation. But see, when I was kind of growing and spirit was teaching me, I always went straight with the air gate to listen to what spirit was saying when it came to dreams. And I would interpret my dreams straight through spirit on how to decipher what certain things were meaning. I would go that way. And that's how I learned how to interpret dreams. Symbols are very important though. So you may get an understanding on a certain dream, but when you go into the symbols, then you get an even greater understanding. And there's books on symbols. Let me see what the name of that book is. I think it's something ancient symbols. Let me see. I'll tell you guys the name of it right now in a minute. Let me see. Is this phone doing something? All right. Let me tell y'all the name of this book. Okay. Again, guys, thank you all for the cash apps. Okay, let me look at this. Let me find that book for you guys. Just bear with me real quickly. I truly appreciate it. Okay, where is it at? Any other questions quickly, guys? Let me see. All right, let me see what the name of this book is. So, y'all, I got $400 and something worth of books in my cart on thrift bookstores. I love books. I have so many books. Have I read all of them yet? No. Would I like to read all of them? Yes. Okay. So the name of the book is, I tell y'all, I got so many. That's the one, the Encyclopedia of Spirits. That's not it. Okay, let me go back to the signs. Oh, you know what? I had to put it in I had to put it in my wish list because the book is so popular, they sold out. And I am, but only. Okay, so it says the Illustrated Signs and Symbols Source Book, and it is by Adele Noziter. Let me see if I can get a. Let me see if I can see. This is how it looks. Can you guys see it? That's the name of the book, the Illustrated Signs and Symbols Source Book. That's one of them, but they also have one called Ancient Signs and Symbols. Okay, let me see what's in the chat. I've been praying in my sleep and waking up still praying in tongues. Okay, we know that tongues is, now let me tell y'all, is basically Christ consciousness. Tongues are a language that you are speaking. It's a different frequency. You're speaking mysteries when you speaking in tongues. I speak in tongues as well. And when you're waking up like that, there's a message. Now, let me tell you, when you don't be afraid of it, because when you continue to go in through past the veil, when you're speaking in tongues, what you're speaking in that language will eventually come out in English where you can understand it. And if it doesn't come out in English, then you just be still and ask source, what is the message? And allow yourself to hear. Allow yourself to hear, because it will come to you. There is a message behind those tongues. Hi, daughter. Okay. Yes, Priestess did my very first reading, and I'm telling you, I go back time to time and I look at the that reading she gave me, and it is a lot of stuff makes a lot of sense that she told me in that reading. And I'm telling you, I think I spoke with her one day and I was like, I went back and read some stuff that you told me. It was stuff that was even coming even more to pass now. And she told me 2.5 years ago. And they were just coming like this. And then she tapped into some of my Akashic records. Y'all, it makes a lot of sense. That's all I can say. Yes, that's my sister, y'all. I'm telling you, I love that woman. And if anybody came to me and wanted to talk and throw shade on her, they would never, ever, ever hear again. Trust me, because the way I would go off on them, they wouldn't speak about her ever, ever, ever again. She is the most loving and kind person. And if she is helping you, it is genuine. If she is giving you a reading, it is genuine. It is out of love, because that's how she rolls. So don't come to me talking about Priestess all set, because you will not call me again. I'll tell you that much. I love you too, Tanya. And let me tell y'all, Tanya is an inspiration, because whenever she pops on my mind, I just go in and say a little prayer for her. And in the little beautiful star seed, I love that little girl. And she's one of the inspirations, I hope you don't mind me saying this, that you can go from from ashes to beauty. She is the prime example of going from ashes to beauty. Pain to prosperity, to be honest. And she's going places. She's going places. She know it. Yes, I love her. She is real. I can feel her energy. Yeah, because you know why? If she's on here silently, you probably feel her energy, but she ain't saying that. Or, in other words, her energy is here, because I'm telling you, that's my sister. That's my sister. I do in the cart. Man, I got 400 and something dollars of books in this cart. Yes, I subscribe to her. That's how I found you. Oh, for real? Well, I'm happy to have you here too. And y'all, please like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm being honest. I'm trying to get my 1,000 members. I do want to get monetized, but also I just want to reach more people more than anything. I want to reach more people, because the more you reach, it's a more understanding that people begin to, because a lot of people don't understand what's going on out here. They don't understand or overstand. They don't know what's going on, but the world is taking a shift, and we're about to see some other stuff coming out the pipeline. I want to say in the next 3 months, we're about to see some more stuff come down. And this is the reason why we as a people got to get right with ourselves and with source, because I'm telling you, connect with nature as much as you can. Connect with nature and be on one accord with Saturn. Because yes, Jupiter comes to bless us and stuff like that, but we talk about Saturn. And we're going to be dealing with Saturn for a very long time. And get connected. Because when you're connected, when stuff starts to hit the fan, you won't be wavering to and fro. You won't be swaying. Plant your feet. Plant your feet. And there is a book called The Great Cosmic Mother, a powerful book. There's some areas where you ain't gonna agree with everything that people write down, but it's very good. It's a very good book. And I think it's Monica Soho. And there's another woman that's forwarding in it too. But The Great Cosmic Mother is an extremely Bible for us. Y'all got to get that. And I learned about The Great Cosmic. Yeah, it's a good book. Yes. Mommy Water. Listen, I showed a picture of the priestess about my ancestral altar. And when she said your ancestor altar look like Voodoo. Look like Mommy Water. And Mommy Water, listen, that next night, I used to have like these little pains in my leg. And what happened was my body was telling me it's time to take a spiritual bath. So I put my bath salts in the water, light my candles, my incense, everything. And when I tell you, I began to just call on Mommy Water because I already was connected to her before she said the altar looked like that. I was already kind of connected to her. I done, read up a lot of stuff on her. I felt connected to her. When I asked for healing in that water, I got out that tub and that pain was gone. God, this is my witness. That pain was gone. And that's why it's important when you are being attracted to certain deities and you're being drawn to them. There's always a reason you're being drawn to them. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of being connected. No matter how dark a deity may seem, let me tell y'all, they call Eshu the devil because he's also a part of him as trickster. And you know why? Because Eshu is here, Papa Legba, to teach us lessons. Lessons. And make no mistake, before you can really gravitate to any Orisha, you got to go through Eshu. Because he's at the crossroads. That's the gatekeeper. Just like Ganesh. Just like Ganesh. And you got to go through Papa Legba. So, in actuality, as much as I am very drawn to Oya because I'm an Oya. I'm an Oya. I'm a Yemiya too. And then Shango is my father. However, Eshu has been around my bloodline for a very long time. In fact, speaking of priestess, I have an ancestor that when he shows up, he's in this like striped suit, like a pinstripe suit type of thing. And he's tall and he wears a hat. And literally, when I used to be in meditation, I would see him sitting on my bed. And he would have his legs crossed and he would have his hand like this, like, how long are you going to call on Jesus, girl? And I'm telling you, my daughter seen him, my son seen him, and Priestess saw him too. Priestess was like, Goddess, you got this ancestor. And she began to just subscribe him. I said, you saw him too? She said, that's Eshu. She said, he ain't Eshu, but he walked with Eshu. It's just like he is Eshu. And I was like, wow. And listen, when I began to get acquainted with Papa Legba and begin to understand his role in everything. When I ask for access, for answers, whether it's from Shango or Oya or Oshun or Batala or Ogun or whoever, because I make peace with Eshu, I give him his offerings and everything. And I don't go over him. I go to him to go through him. I have never, ever been let down by getting any messages or anything from any Orisha Yemiya. None of them. None of them. Because I went through the gatekeeper first at the crossroads. Sybils, the first prophetesses. And there is also a YouTube, guys, and I think I have it in my save videos or spiritual downloads. And this woman had given with what was her name? Mommy, I forgot her name. Zobi? Mama Zobi. She was doing an interview with Mommy Zobi, and she was talking about Mommy Water, but she was talking about the sybils. Definitely look at that, guys. It comes in different parts, but you should see them. And it is so powerful about the sybils, even not just the sybils, but she talks about the Vatican. She talks about the Amazons. She talks about a lot of things that were our people. Yep, Mother Zobi. I have it in saved download, spiritual downloads. If I'm not mistaken, it should be in there. If it's not, let me know, and I'll make sure I put it there. But it's very powerful. Anybody have any more questions? I said I wasn't going to be on here long. One of my spiritual sisters, Miss Brenda, she always tell me, you need to stop saying that, because every time you say you ain't going to be on there long, you be on there in 2-3 hours. I seek. Let me see. Do you know what a blue or a cube represents? A cube? Like the square cube? Several things. But I can tell you Saturn, the symbols of Saturn, I believe the first two of them are cubes. The first pentacle of Saturn, and I believe the second pentacle of Saturn are cubes. I didn't see it. I promise you. Thank you so much, though. But those are one of the symbols for real. A cube. Look up the first and second pentacle of Saturn. It's a Solomon key. Yep, I got linked to it by Priestess Aset Rahman. All those books, it changed me and was like, yes, we are all in this together. And listen, as I grow, y'all grow. As because I'm learning still at the same time too. We all are learning, but it's just important for you all to write down things, write down these dreams, write down these symbols. Even when you're out and about and you're driving or whatever, and you start to see a bunch of these, like a bunch of birds or ducks, or ducks mean prosperity too, and they are a form of Yamoja. So pay attention to the signs. Also, when you're seeing a bunch of dead things, pay attention to that too. If you're seeing a lot of dead squirrels or whatever the case may be, just pay attention to those things as well. But y'all, I'm telling you, be careful on the outside. And when I say on the outside, that means be careful of your surroundings and be aware of it at all times. When you walk out of your door, make sure you're paying attention to the left and to the right, and always call on whatever deities that you work with to make sure your house is secured. Your children are protected when they sleep in the wee hours of the night. We always speak with Source, because Source is the ultimate supreme being, you see? And we must continue to pray over our children, even if they are not praying themselves. We must protect our children and speak hedges of protection around them at all times, because there are forces out here that are trying to manipulate and trying to push themselves onto us and our children. And we must remember, try the spirit by the spirit to see if it is Source or not. And you always know the difference. A dead bird. Yes, yes, yes. Let me tell y'all, I live by a pond, and it's a lot of ducks. And yeah, it's a headache sometimes when you can't walk out the yard barefoot and connect with nature, because there's duck poop all over the place. But that's why I'm trying to manifest my house anyway, so I can do that if I want to. However, it's these little kids, and they hurt these ducks. They hurt them, and their parents they know that they're doing it. And one night, one of the ducks must have been in the road, and somebody was coming home, and they just did not care. They ran that helpless duck over. And I saw the duck, and I saw it, and it was like really limping. And listen, this is when you know that you are connecting with nature. It hurt me. I was so heartbroken that somebody deliberately ran over this animal. And one time, the children, and these are not babies, they're old enough to know better. They're dragging the duck and pulling out the wings. I went outside and saw all these duck feathers all over the place. And I'm thinking, well, what in the heck? Shit, you would think the duck got cancer or had chemotherapy because all of the feathers was everywhere. And I'm like, who would do this to these harmless, helpless animals when there are symbols clearly? But people don't care. They really don't. So, it goes with the flow. Some of us really love intensively, and some people just really don't care. And they will call themselves spiritual too. And they harming living things. Well, anyway, is there anything else? Anybody has a question? Anybody has a comment? Those were the first oracles, and some of us are direct descendants of the sybils. They were the first prophetesses. And listen, oh, 1 second, guys. And what they the sybils, I was telling somebody else, thank you for the donation, because they text me and let me know they did a donation. Y'all, the sybils were the ones who actually wrote the Old Testament before it was distorted and rewritten and patriarchal. But they wrote the Old Testaments. They had several temples everywhere that was destroyed, torn down, and they were overthrown by patriarch, and a lot of them killed. Yes, they were the black doves. And so what that means is the sybils, again, like I was telling you, and just using myself as an example, when they gave as oracles, when they gave their words, they were not always love and light messages. Those messages were warnings, and they were dark. They are what you would call dark. But it was to shift things, to put things back in divine alignment with spirit, with source. And they were overthrown because whatever those symbols spoke, you best believe you could take that bag to the bank. It was coming to pass. It was coming to pass. And they didn't care how it came across, as long as they gave the word the way that spirit was giving it to them. It was to set the people free and telling them to change their wicked ways, to turn from their wicked ways. Then shall you hear from heaven. Spirit will hear from heaven and heal the land. And see, what people fail to realize, we are the land, and we need healing. But until we forgive ourselves and one another and come together in love and unity, there will always be discord. And the house divided by itself cannot stand. So as long as there's black on black crime, as long as we are The drugs are being put by the government in our towns, in our cities, in our neighborhoods. And that's the only way you think you can come up, by being a big drug dealer, killing your own people, until that change. Until men, the patriarch, stop disrespecting the divine feminine. There will not be a healing. Until those temples are rebuilt, there will not be a healing. There will be turmoil in the earth until things change. And this is why we're dealing with Saturn. Everything that has been done, you are seeing the karma, because the pendulum is swinging back now. When the pendulum swings back, it swings hard, which is why we must come into grips that we did a lot of things to ourselves, and we are the only ones that can fix it. Not Biden, not the $250 that they're trying to give us on the 15th of the month, not Juneteenth. Because as long as you're talking about Juneteenth, then where is your anti-hate law? You know what that means? The Manchurian got their anti-hate law like that. And us, they can still bust down our doors, kill us while we sleeping, and y'all celebrating Juneteenth. Talking about, oh, it's changing. No, it ain't. That is a sidetrack. And it is not. It is not no freedom from slavery. Because as long as you can work 80 hours a week to pay your bills, you ain't free. You ain't free. I walked off a job when Spirit told me, time for you to go. And let me tell you something. My ancestors, they was like, we got you. Trust us. We got you. So you know what? I'm strictly working for myself. The products that you guys buy, the readings and different things that you guys get and stuff like that, it's my passion to do that anyway. It's what I love to do. And this is how I'm doing full time right now. Full time. But to work on the job and feel overworked and underpaid, you ain't out of slavery. You know what? There's some people, we got to come in grips. When you see yourself on these people's jobs and you're always going from job to job to job to job, that means it's time for you to work for yourself. What's your passion? You find your purpose when you find your passion. Yep. But it's the truth anyhow. It's the truth anyhow, y'all. They can still stop us at the track stop and say we fit the description of somebody else. And then you got another whole rod and you can't beat it again. But then they celebrating Juneteenth saying, oh, they changing, they working for us. No, they ain't. That's a sidetrack to shut people up. But y'all, the mother is saying it is time to wake up. It is time to wake up. And when you wake up, you wake up full force. There's a lot of things that are being put into the atmosphere. And guess what? And it is to densen the earth even more. Fake clouds. Yes, it's real, y'all. It's real. They're trying to clone everything. Playing God. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Some of them are playing goddess so much that when they go to sleep and rest, some of them won't wake up. Some won't wake up. And if it doesn't fall on them, it will fall on the children. Some of the children won't wake up to see another day, no matter the age. See, another thing that's going on in this earth is stuff is about to be going back to the old ancient times. If you remember, when spirit came through, and if you didn't have that blood, which represented, see, a lot of things, and if you don't know how to decode those scriptures, you won't really know. But even the blood on the doorposts was symbolic. Okay? And when spirit came through and sifted the life out of the firstborn, may I tell you all that we are about to see some of those things again? Firstborn. So be careful. Get in tune with nature. Turn back to your first love. I did a video on that, turning back to your first love. We got to. We got to. And the time is now to do it. Because we are going to see a lot of things come down the pipeline. Firstborns will be taken. Just like the old times. If we don't shift this vibration now. Ashe. It is true. And things will be happening in different ways. Priestess did a video saying one time, if you think the coronavirus was something coming way worse than that. And what else worse than coronavirus? The pandemic that was out here is death. It's death. So get your house in order. And we all must get our house in order. All of us. And it's a process. Day in, day out, and day in, and day out, and day in, and day out. To get our house in order. To change things. To move a certain way. To elevate to the frequency that we need to be on. Somebody was like, well, one of my well, I'll tell you about that another time, but it was on Baphomet. And when okay. I will another person was just telling me thank you, and I saw on the donation. So thank you all so much. Anybody else got anything they want to say before I end the live? Y'all, sorry for this. I look rough. I'm not getting my hair done until another 2 weeks. I try not to retwist my locks so much, so I let them just new growth, and then I'll get them redone. I'll be out for a while. Just call me. You know what to do. I'll be out for a while. I'm not going to bed no time soon. Thank you too, Stella. Listen, y'all have beautiful energy. That's why I said I wanted to do lives, because I like the interaction with you guys, because the energy is beautiful. You ask beautiful questions. And if I don't mind saying, if I don't know something, I don't know. But we can all learn together. I will look it up on here, on certain things that I have on here, and we'll get a deeper inner or understanding on anything. But I love the vibration, the frequency, the energy that you guys bring to the lives. Anna, thank you. Thank you. Because you brought some peace, you brought some stuff to the live as well. And we need that. We all do. Thank you, Lakeith. Love you. Gratitude. Yes. And gratitude is so important, y'all. We speak it. We say it and we must show it. We must show gratitude to the universe, our ancestors, our spirit guides, our whole spiritual team. We must show gratitude, because when we are showing gratitude as well to them, trust me, they come through for you. Natural Heaven, thank you too. Thank you. And good evening. And you have a great evening. Y'all have a good night. Is there anything else that anybody wants to ask or give a comment? Love you all. Yes, all of the goddesses in the chat. Thank you all. Y'all have a good evening. Y'all have a peaceful, rest. And until the next time, because I think I am going to keep up with my lives, because I've been being bad on that. I'm going to be honest, y'all. I have not been doing it like I should be. August is about to be turned up, Lady Owl. Yes, it is. It's going to be turned. And listen, when we get into October, like I told you, that's when Saturn comes out of retrograde. Y'all got to see some stuff go down. How do you get over self-doubt? It's a reprogramming of the mind. It's a reprogramming of the mind. When you're feeling yourself being doubtful, when you're seeing yourself not gravitating to certain things, it must be something here that you have to retrain, reprogram your own mind. That's the only way to get over self-doubt. You must reprogram your mind. So it's just like saying that little train that said he couldn't. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Your personal power is to the limit and the extent that you allow it to be, because of the programming of your mind. When you reprogram this, who you are and who you know you are inside will show up on the outside. And powerful you are, sister. Powerful you are. But you must reprogram your mind. Doubt comes from fear of the unknown. And when you reprogram fear into love, then you won't doubt yourself ever again or your personal power. Ashe. Yes, we are in Jason season. Okay, somebody been watching Sister Myra. She's a Michael Mike. You welcome, hater. But you are very powerful. And you got to tap into that. Tap into it. Did you say Michael Mike? Like Pennywise and Candyman and Michael Mike? Yes, you are so right, though. It is so right. Listen, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. I remember in Christendom, it was this little boy in one of the ministries, and he used to like to watch Chucky a lot. And let me tell you something. When I tell y'all spirits do come through the screen, yes, they do. This little boy, mom woke up one night, and he had butcher knives all around her in the bed and sitting over her. And she was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He said, well, I'm Chucky, mama. I'm Chucky. Let me tell y'all something. That was that was one of the most scariest things that I had ever heard as a testimony in the church. But let me tell you something. In holiness, I have seen devils get cast out of people. I have heard people's voices change to really, really, really deep voices. Now, mine gets deep when I'm speaking in tongues, and you're going through different channels. It does get deep. But we're talking about people speaking straight English, and voice was like a man, and they're a straight out woman with a high pitched voice. So when she talking about Jason season and Pennywise and all that, that stuff real. Yes, they do. I had to do a cleansing every time. Now, let me tell you, I grew up on horror movies. I love horror movies, but then I was realizing, okay, I like movies with Ouija boards and different things like that. I was like, what in the world? People, necromancers and different things like that coming up, but I gravitate to it. And now I know why. Because guess what? That's what I was. That's what I am. That's what I am. But you still got to do a full cleansing of your house, because those things do come through the screen. They come right off the screen. Now, what I want you to do, Risha, look up the spiritual meaning of the ravens and see how it correlates to you. Because like mine are crows, if yours are ravens, they're coming to you for a particular reason. Birds are usually always messengers, or they have a message. And see, like I told you, like crows and ravens, a lot of times it's not a happy-go-lucky message. It's something powerful in it. And sometimes people's feelings may get hurt. There may be sometimes when you may lose some friends. Listen, I'm hearing this clearly. Some of you know you got to cut off the umbilical cord to some people that been sucking off of you like leeches. Let them people go. They are stagnating your growth, and you trying to go to the next level in your finances and your spirituality, and they are like a backpack full of heavy metals. Let them people go. From an occult perspective, listen. From the occult perspective, even in the occult, if you're speaking in tongues and it's not a language like Latin or whatever like that, and you know exactly what you're saying, on occult perspective, there's always still a message coming through, and you got to speak on through the veil. Through the veil. And I'm gonna tell you, the witching hours are one of the most prominent times when you go into tongues, because the veil is very thin, particularly open. And those are one of the best times for you to go in through when you're speaking in tongues. Go all the way through until you come out with a plain message, or when you get into a restful state speaking in tongues, because I do it all the time occultically. But when you are at peace and you're just resting, sometimes that message will come to you through a dream or a vision, or even in plain hearing, like audio. Audio. It will come to you plain, just like that, when you are at peace and resting. Because while you're speaking in tongues, it's harder to hear. But when you are at peace, after you have calmed and you have stopped, just be at peace and listen. Keep your eyes closed. Stay engaged. Because to be honest, when you are clear audience, thank you. When you are still, it's easier for you to pull messages and get understanding when you have been still. When you speaking in tongues, you're doing spiritual work, or you're doing whatever. If you're working with candles, if you're working with herbs, if you're working with dirt, whatever you are doing and you speaking in tongues, remember, all it is confusing spirits around you, because they don't know what you're saying. You see what I'm saying? So basically, when you're going through and you're doing this, after you have silenced yourself, because a lot of people that speak in tongues, they don't know what it's saying. They're saying, but there's a way you can come through with it. It'll come out in English. or you just be at peace, and it'll come, the message, whatever you're speaking will come out. Let me see. And you're definitely right about that. No one is ready for this season. No, they're not. Sister Myra had to put respect on her name. Yes, she did. I like Sister Myra. Any suggestions on dream recalling, goddess? Dream recalling? Are you speaking of when you're dreaming and you can't remember anything? You can't remember what the message was? Do you mean in that way? Because everybody does things differently. Now, I'm going to tell you, when I can't remember certain things, but I know that there was a message, I would, because Archangel Gabriel is the messenger, I will go in and you don't remember anything at all? Okay. If it's a particular message that's trying to come through, I would always call on Archangel Gabriel and ask if he can bring the message back through again for me. Because when you're starting to not remember things, now I'm going to tell you, I sleep now with angelite or amethyst, don't laugh y'all, in my bonnet, on my head. I have amethyst and I have a piece of angelite. I don't got one with me. It's over there in my bonnet. But I put the angelite in my bonnet with some amethyst, and I have been being able to remember things. And soon as you wake up, because you remember it's fresh, write it down. Write it down. But see, a lot of things are going on right now where people are not remembering any dreams. They're not remembering anything. It's being taken away as quick as you wake up. So get a piece of angelite. Oh, I like amethyst. Put a piece of amethyst or angelite up in here and sleep with it in your crown. And another thing, y'all, remember what we were talking about earlier, shifting how we eat. A lot of things are so heavy in the body that the spirit has to fight through it because your body is so heavy. So definitely take in more water and watch your meat intake. Trust me, y'all, it's poison. Watch how we are eating. And then there are certain foods that are very good for your pineal. Stuff like radishes or eggplants, different things like that. I eat a lot of like kale or cabbage or vegetables, stuff like that. Ashe, Lakeith. Have you ever had a dream of angels singing that you didn't want to wake up? Oh my gosh. Yes. You can, it's an angelic presence, and it has you in such a state of peace that yes, you don't want to wake up. And I've also had where you would be in a certain place and it's just the sweet aroma that smells like frank and myrrh that just comes in to let you know spirit is there. Listen, peaceful, beautiful. Angels are very, very particular. And if they come to you, it's usually to protect you. It's to either give you a message, give you a protection, or to just steer you along the course. Yes, it does sound, it's so heavenly. It's beautiful. We say heavenly, but it's just a light frequency. Is beautiful. The smell is so pleasant. Let me tell y'all, one time I was traveling, and not traveling spiritually because I do that. I astral travel a lot. But my cousin wanted me to go with her to New York, and she just had got off of work. And I did not have no driver license. It was suspended. And she said, I gotta rest. I gotta go to sleep. And I drove from North Carolina to Jersey. And in the middle of it, I was right before you get to the tolls to get into New York. I was tired. I was I was just getting real sleepy driving all those hours, but I wanted her to rest. Y'all, that sweet smelling fragrance came right through the car, and I downed the windows, and all I heard was Spirit said, "We are with you. We are with you." And I kept driving straight on through. When we got up to almost where you have to pay the toll, she was like, she woke up and she was like, "You drive all this way? Girl, let me get in this car." And when we got into New York, it was like she ain't never been sleeping. She was slamming on brakes, driving like a crazy person, just like she ain't never leave New York. It was crazy. But I loved it. I loved it. Anything anybody else have to say? Any questions? Hi. We were just talking about you. OMG. She came on, y'all. We just was talking about you. We love you. I will. Okay, right after the live, I will. When they hear the harp, beautiful. The angels have another smell that is better than frankincense and myrrh. And sandalwood, yes, they do. And I had to come in and give the message because the last time I did, it was on a Facebook Live, and the crows, it was a murder of crows outside. And I've always seen crows, even when I was in Christendom. And I can tell you guys, after that live, my phone was ringing off the hook, or I had text messages and everything. People were crying, all kind of stuff. But I had to be obedient and give the message because crows, when you see a murder of them, that's very vital. It's very vital. Oh, you did. You gave another one. Let me see. Let me see. Man, that's the best time to do uncrossing and railroad open the candles. Now, I'm gonna tell you how I do it. Anytime I'm working with any kind of candle magic or anything like that, I use the witching hours after midnight. That's how I do it. Or you can do it in the hour of the sun. Definitely in the hour of the sun. But with that type of stuff you're talking about, I go in the witching hours and do it. Any other questions, guys? Anybody got any other questions? No, AM. The hour of the sun. Now, if you get the planetary hours or planetary times app, it'll tell you the time of Saturn, Venus, the sun, the moon, all of Mercury, and Mars. There's times when it's pitch black outside, but it's still the hour of the sun because it's the hour of the sun somewhere. Well, my website is www. I'll put it here. I think all of you have it though, but I'll go ahead and put it here for you. And when you go there are ways that you can get in touch with me. There's an email on there and everything else. Readings are on there, psychic readings, also deceased loved one readings. If you have a problem getting the psychic readings on there, you can still message me and we can still schedule that time. Definitely go to Etsy, guys, with the candles, the sachets, the waist beads, everything like that, because everything goes through better. As far as shipping being added into it and everything like that. So I'll put all of that stuff in the description after the live. And then you all can have access to the Etsy shop as well. On some of my other videos, all of that are on there. The Etsy shop, the website, everything. And a bowl of water to make what? Tincture will help you with the third eye. Yes, it can. It definitely can. And also, if you take is it bay leaf? Not bay leaves. Basil. 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 If you make a basil and don't put no sugar in it, no nothing, and just drink it like a hot tea, it also activates things. But to be honest with you, a lot of it, there's ways that you block your third eye, and you must change certain things that you are internalizing for that pineal gland. All right, guys. Well, if all minds are clear, I'm going to end the live. And I'll be coming back on again next week. And I will see you all there. I love you all. Peace and blessings. You can do it through the Etsy shop, but if you're local, then just message me if you're local. But if you're doing it through the Etsy shop, just go through the Etsy shop and I'll make sure it ships out to you myself. Thank you, Miss Risha. Yes, I will come back soon. You all have a good night. I love you all and have a great evening. Rest well and be at peace. Ashe. Ashe.